Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening into another Gamers Thoughts discussion. And people, we had this conversation already. When people got mad at Nintendo about the calculator app being released on the Switch. Yes, it's overpriced. Yes, it's redundant. Yes, it's on the eShop. But no, Nintendo is not responsible for the actual app itself. They didn't make it. So they're not the ones getting the majority of the profit off of it. It's the same thing with Doki Doki Literature Club. Nintendo is not the one putting it on the eShop. Well, they weren't the ones that submitted it to the eShop to be put up for people to get. The original creator, I think it's Dan Silvano, made it. I might be wrong on the name, but I know I'm in the general direction. Either way, the original producer of Doki Doki Literature Club, who released it on Steam for free originally, put it on the Nintendo Switch and added a price to it. That's who you should be upset with, not Nintendo. Not Nintendo for saying, okay, well, they put the game on here. Hey, this is what they want to charge for it. Seems reasonable to us. We'll just go ahead and put it up. Nintendo didn't make that decision. Nintendo's not getting the majority of the profit from it. Nintendo is not the one that decided that. Well, I think it's Team Silvano, whatever. Either way, Nintendo didn't make that decision. They weren't the ones that did it. And it's like anytime somebody sees something pop up in the eShop that has a counterpart somewhere else, they're getting upset at Nintendo for it rather than the people that made it. Now, I do realize there are probably some people that do it as a joke because they realize how stupid it is, so they make the joke. But there are plenty of other people who legitimately believe, well, Nintendo's the one setting the price for it. It was free on Steam. Why does it have to be $15 here? Nintendo didn't make that decision. And actually, if you use a Steam calculator on your account and you have Doki Doki Literature Club on your account, before this game was announced for Nintendo Switch, it actually had a worth of $15 on that app, if I remember correctly. Oh, hold on, I have to correct myself. Website in that app. It actually had that price point on there before. I don't know what it is now. It might be different because value of different games on Steam fluctuates. But it had a value on there. It legitimately has a value on there. So maybe that they made Valve privy to the fact that they were going to end up charging for the game at some point and gave them a price point. But, dude, people, stop being so stupid. Come on now. Like, it's just one of those things, well, there goes Nintendo again. I'm like, I could get people being upset about, a game having extended content that was originally supposed to be in the game that was cut out of it and then added later. I can understand people get mad at microtransactions and how predatory they are. But I do not get people getting mad at what is basically just a storefront putting out the price that the developer or publisher set for the item that's being purchased. Why do that? Why at all do that? And the only thing I can attribute it to is stupidity or ignorance. Because you either have to think that Nintendo is setting the prices, which they have come out and said before, they don't set the prices for third-party materials. They don't. They in no way, shape, or form set those prices. So if they don't set the price and they only take what the developer decides that they want to sell it for, which I imagine that's a lot of the storefronts for gaming that the developer probably decides for the most part. I mean, there are definitely some special scenarios. Well, I'll just say whoever the publisher is decides what the price of the game is going to be. That's the best way to look at it. So you're telling me, and it's largely how Amazon works. Say you want to sell something on Amazon or any storefront for that fact of the matter, and you decide you want to sell something. You decide the pricing. That's just how that works. So I'd have to question, has none of these people ever sold anything online? Or do they just consume and only consume like a gluttonous animal? Maybe that's the reason that so many people are ignorant to this type of practice. Because they don't have experience with it in any way, shape, or form. Or they do, and they are lacking the cognitive skill to apply similar scenarios in their head to get an understanding of what one situation is versus another. Maybe that's it. Maybe they are cognitively deficient. Maybe that's what I should say instead of stupid. Cognitively deficient. Cognitively deficient individuals. That should become my new phrase for a good while. Cognitively deficient. Because it sounds nice, it's politically correct, but at the same time, it tells you that this person ain't exactly got the wit to pay attention to the situation. I mean, it's an over-bloated way to say something that is simple, but people take offense at things that are simplified, so let's complicate it to make them feel better about themselves. So, Nintendo gamers, not all of you, but many of you are cognitively deficient. And for the ones that aren't cognitively deficient, could you please inform your friends, family, and tell them how these things work so that they could be less cognitively deficient and more cognitively efficient? Please do that. Because it'd be very helpful, so I don't have to keep coming back and talking about their cognitively deficientness. That doesn't even sound right. I think maybe I should have said cognitive deficiencies. That was better. I think I just made myself sound cognitively deficient there. Oh gosh, this is going to be a meme. But if you're really that inept at following how things work, stop commenting on it. There's a difference that you comment on something and maybe you had some misinformation and you made a bad judgment based on that misinformation. But it's a whole other thing to create misinformation from what's already been stated when there was no misinformation in the first place. And there are many people on YouTube and Twitter and other social media that do that because they are in and of themselves very cognitively deficient and only able to get popularity by opening their mouths like they're about to engorge themselves on something that I'm not going to describe on this channel right this moment. But there's no no more reason for me to drag this out anymore. I think I've made my point clear. Hopefully for those that are able to understand what my point was. Even though I think within maybe the first few seconds of listening to me, you probably understood that and just wanted to listen on to see what else I would add. But thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out, everybody.